So good evening. My name is Sonali Shah, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Helping Hands Club. So, to give you some context, the Helping Hands Club is a community club that has been started by my sister and I. And right now, we're about 50 members, and we conduct many events throughout the year. And one of our events this year is a Women in STEM interview series to create awareness among girls about how to go into STEM in terms of education as well as a career. So, can I ask you some questions if that's okay?
No, go ahead.
So, can you tell me about your journey into STEM and what initially sparked your interest into this field?
So I did engineering. I did biomedical engineering. So I was a science student, and during my times it was either medicine or engineering. So I didn't come here by choice. I was actually supposed to do medicine, and then biomedical engineering was a new and interesting subject, and so that's how I landed in STEM, that is in engineering.
Okay. So, what challenges have you faced like as a woman in STEM, and how have you like overcome the challenges?
Well, so during my time, there were not many girls in engineering. Like in my class, I think we were just 2% of the entire class cohort. And even at work, uh, like usually for engineering, it was quite common that you're the only girl in the team. And I also traveled extensively on work when I was in a consulting role. And I would be the only girl at the offsite location. So a lot of times it was not comfortable even for some of my clients, or because they were not used to having a woman with a voice on the table, because they're not used to was not familiar. So that diversity was really a concern, to have a woman on the team, or have somebody, one of the girls or a woman managing as a project lead. I remember one of my client was an automobile sector. Everything I would say, it was in Pune, and he would actually confirm with my manager that whether he agrees with what I'm saying. So my manager had to actually come down from Mumbai to Pune to explain to him that I'm quite competent and I'm the lead here on the ground, and he has to listen to me. So this was genuinely a challenge back then. What I'm talking about is like sometime around in 2006, where it was not that common for women to lead projects, and especially not in engineering sectors like automobile manufacturing.
Right. So, how do you stay updated with the latest developments and trends in your area of expertise?
So I'm currently in cybersecurity. So for my field, it's evolving, and it's evolving at a very fast rate. There is there is not one person who will know it all. It's always a cumulative knowledge of uh, different people within the same team. So I do attend a lot of conferences. I try to give at least one cyber certification examination every year. I am very active in conferences, and I do contribute as a mentor. And it's also amazing because when I'm mentoring somebody young to enter this field, I also learn a lot, because I feel the next generation, that is people like you, are very on top of the thing. So it's really mutual, because what I can mentor is on career guidance and growth, but there are a lot of new technologies, and uh, especially in the AI/ML space, and generative AI, in data privacy, there's lots happening. And the best way is to do webinars, attend conferences, keep meeting people and learning and grow through them.
So, how do you balance your work and your personal life, especially considering like the demanding nature of these sort of careers?
So I have set timings. I do have night calls too, because my role, I need to work with a lot of global teams. So I have set my calendar like 6 to 8 p.m. is my personal time. And that's like the peak time when I need to be around my daughter to take care of her. And I have set times for everything. Like my exercise time is 7 to 8 a.m. My time for my child is 6 to 8. I do reject calls that time. So best thing is to be a good planner and plan well in advance. I do plan what are my meetings for next day and be prepared. If I have some personal commitments, like if I need to attend something in my daughter's school or if any of the family errands, I do block out my calendar during work hours, let my manager know. So as long as you are planning well in advance, and when people know you won't be available at this time, they will make sure that they catch you at the other time. So it's all about communicating, whether it's with your family members or your colleagues, that this time I'm available, this time I'm not, and plan your schedule accordingly.
Okay, so what advice would you give a young woman who wants to aspire to have a career in STEM?
Be curious because it's not something that uses, there's no textbook for it. So you cannot just say that, you know, I completed this course and I'm now STEM. So you need to be curious. That is one is uh, get in the habit of reading articles, research papers, go out and attend any industry conferences or any subject matter expert talks. And now there's so much of virtual events available. There are a lot of webinars, talks available online. Be open to learn picking up new skills because it's evolving. So it's not, so you may conceptually know what is generative AI, but how do you implement it? What are the practical applications? How, what is the technology behind it? So be open to learning new skills, upskilling yourself, and uh, understanding if you are, and the field is so vast, so you cannot be a master. You need to master something. You cannot be jack of all. So try to, when you attend these different conferences, when you interact with people, you will understand that which are the areas that interest you. It could be something to do with telecom engineering, or it, because STEM, when you say, uh, it could be something to do with uh, maybe data science or programming, or so see what is attracts you, and within that find your niche, and then see how you can start specializing it. A good way to do, like for somebody like you who's still at school, going to colleges, look for what are the jobs in the market, like maybe on job portals like LinkedIn. What are the kind of skills required for the roles you're aspiring for, and how you can upskill yourself to reach that goal. So maybe meet somebody who's already in uni studying that course, or somebody who's working in that industry to understand what a normal day for them looks like, what have they reached, what's their career path, what's their journey, and what you need to do to learn and to develop yourself. So one is developing in terms of technical skills. The other thing for something like STEM is also communication. Why this is important is nobody wants to listen to a professor kind of a lecture about how great this technology is, because eventually you should also learn how to sell what you are, what is your idea. And it's not only about selling idea when it's a business. If you thought of a different way of executing and you found some innovative technology, you need to present it as a case study. So communicating is also important. So develop the soft skills, and it needs to be in simple language. Just throwing technical jargons won't help. So how can you present it in a simple, easy to understand business friendly language? That's one thing. It's very important. Besides, obviously, you cannot shy away from knowing technology. So it's, you need to have a solid foundation. So you can say that knowing your basics, your technology is like the solid foundation, and you build on it by building your communication and influencing skills.
So how do you think that networking and building your own like personal connection with people plays a role in STEM?
So, like I said, it's not that if you know hundreds of people who are doing STEM, then uh, networking with a purpose is what is important. So, if you're networking, network with the right people. Let's say if you're targeting a particular industry or a particular technology, the network with those people to understand what have they done to be there. So have a role model or have a dream career and start tracing their career paths to understand what did they do to get there and understand from there what you need to do. So when you're networking, you need to ask the right pointed questions that what exactly is your work like, what do you think are the skills, and it's quite likely that you get yourself trained on a particular technology today, and in another next 5 years when you're out of college, uh, that's already gone and there's something new come up. So how do you make sure that you are upskilling yourself? So use your networking skills to be curious, to get that knowledge, to gain that understanding, that insight for how practically you can implement what you know. And so understand the skill gap, what you know and what you need to know. Your network can help you with that. And also about what is it out there that it's, what is there that they are doing in the industry. So if you are networking with somebody from the industry, understand what works, because you may have you think this is a brilliant idea, and you'll meet somebody who's actually in the industry, who, let's say somebody is developing an AI tool himself, and you go and tell him that, I have this great robotics automation idea and this process re-engineering, and he'll say, oh, that won't work. That idea fails. So try to get uh, you have those focus user group discussions, be part of some of these to understand what works, what doesn't work. So when you're networking, understand what are some good books you should read, try to be part of some book clubs, and attend some virtual seminars, events. There are a lot of free courses available. So use that. So use your knowledge to get entry into that network, but use the network and your connections for your self-development. So there's no point just knowing somebody socially in a professional world if you're not able to tap on those resources to help enhance your knowledge or bridge that skill gap.
Right. So, the last question I have is diversity and inclusion are being increasingly recognized in the world today. So, how do you think that diversity will contribute to innovation and problem solving in the aspect of STEM?
So there is always a different perspective, right? And when you say diversity and inclusion, because there's no point having a room full of people if all of them think alike.
Yeah.
So diversity can be uh, so when you have, let's say, women in the team, they generally do bring that diversity because uh, men think differently, women think differently. So it's always good to have that mixed cohort of people coming together and giving that uh, different point of view, because and there have been a lot of case studies and where there's no point having room full of people and all of them are going to say the same thing without anyone looking at the other side or looking at the pros and cons. So diversity does bring in that value to have different views, and where also you are uh, also tolerant and acceptable that and respect that there can be different views and different ways of looking at things, and how we can coexist in spite of being different in the way we think.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Most welcome.